The 29th chapter of the book of Yirmiyahu is one that we referenced a few chapters ago, when Yirmiyahu said that the people who will return are the people in Babylon. And now he writes a letter. So this is the text. Yirmiyahu sends a letter to the people who were exiled to Bavel. Again, this is the exile with Yechonia in the year 597 or so. All of the artisans, all the nobility, were sent out. Biad Elasa ben Shafan Ugumaria ben Chilkiah asher shalach tzidkiah melech Yudah Nebuchadnezzar melech Bavel Bavela. The letter was sent with Elasha, son of Shafan, and Gemaria, son of Chilkiah, who King Tzidkiyahu had dispatched to Babylon to the king Nebuchadnezzar. So it's going through official channels, but it's being sent to the king to the Jews in Bavel. Tzidkiyahu is the king who Nebuchadnezzar puts on the throne, and it's a letter that's seemingly the king is going to like. And what does it say? So I'm speaking to the entire Gola. Banu vatim v'shevu. Build houses and live, plant gardens and eat the fruit of the gardens, right? So it's time to live there. That's what you're going to have to do, which Yirmiyahu has told us in different ways. And further, get married. In Yerushalayim, there's going to be no kol sason v'no kol simcha, no kol chatan v'kol kala. Yirmiyahu has told us that multiple times. There's going to be no not brooms. There might be brooms. There can be no grooms and no brides. And God told Yirmiyahu, don't take a wife for yourself. Here there is no future. As opposed to that, those are you who are in Bavel. Take wives, take children, get children, get married, and have a lot of children. And and seek the welfare of the state in which you live in, and pray for it. Pray for its help. And this idea of pray for its help is seemingly the source for the prayer that's said for the state. We say it in America, and I have an old copy of a Chumash, which must have been a photocopy of one that they did in about 1900 in Russia, and it says there to pray. It has the Tsar. It doesn't say like the rabbi says in Fiddler on the Roof, we pray to the Tsar to keep him far, far away from us. It doesn't have that. Don't listen to the other prophets who are deceiving you. The prophets that you have there with you, seemingly they're prophets there in Bavel, which we'll get to in a second. So the prophets in Bavel who are telling the Jews, you'll only be here for a short period of time. Only build a sukkah, build a temporary dwelling. Don't build a permanent dwelling. God says that's not the case. So we have false prophets in Israel. We have false prophets in Bavel. Yirmiyahu is standing up to them by telling the people in Yerushalayim they're going to be destroyed. He's already past the point of possible return of the 10 tribes and possible messianic hope that Yeshaya. He's past that. He's up to submit. That's what he's up to. Submit to the will of the king of Babylon. Keep going. Verse 10. Divari hatov lashiv atchem el hamakom hazeh. And here Yirmiyahu for the second time talks about 70 years. When Babylon's 70 years are over, I will take note of you and I will fulfill my promise to you to bring you back to this place. So it's not exactly 70 years. 70 in the Bible means a lifetime. 40 is a generation, 70 is a lifetime. And I believe it's from about 605 till 538, about a 67-year period. Bavel comes on the scene as an empire in approximately the year 605, and they are defeated in the year 538 by the Persians. So Yirmiyahu is right, and that was a shocking thing that Yirmiyahu's prophecy came true, because, I don't know if Bavel was the United States of its time, but it was the major empire, and shocking that they were defeated. We'll talk about that more in future books. I have plans for you, peaceful plans for your welfare. I have a hopeful future. Tikva, right? Think of the word tikva, ha-tikva, the hope that you will return. When you call out to me, come and pray to me, I will give heed to you. Here we've talked about many times the Deuteronomy, the language of Devarim, and here we have it, these words, Dirshuni, which we had earlier, Doresh, those are all words that are used at length, that are used many, many times in the book of Devarim, those type of phrases. God says, right, you're going to be there, but seek me out. Just because I am not here, just because you're not in Jerusalem, just because you're not in front of the Beit HaMikdash doesn't mean you cannot connect with me. And we know eventually, we'll get to it in the book of Yechezkel, the idea of a mikdash ma'at, the idea of a synagogue, a temple, taking the place on a smaller scale than the Beit HaMikdash. Verse 14, here's the tikva, the hopeful Yirmiyahu. He's hopeful not to the people with whom he dwells in Yerushalayim, but he's hopeful to the people who have submitted. They will return. But you say, God has given us prophets in Bavel. And this is what God says about the people who are still here in Jerusalem. We're in verse 17. The people here, they're like bad figs. We had that analogy before. They cannot be eaten. In the last chapter, a few chapters ago, where he talks about the good figs and the bad figs. So it's the same thing. I don't know what it is about the fig, that's the description that's given to compare the Jews of Bavel and the Jews of Yerushalayim, but that's the second time he uses this idea of the fig and the rotten figs and the good figs. Last time I said it sounds like, the dreams of Paro way back when. They're going to be destroyed completely. We don't have to give the translation of every word. I sent all my prophets. They never listen. But you, who are in the Gola, you're going to survive. So listen to the words of God. Listen. Build your houses. You're going to be there. It's not going to be forever, but it'll be a lifetime, 70 years. Right? Why are people building houses in the cliffs of California? They're going to be underwater. The seismic shifts, they're going to fall down. Well, that might not happen for 100 years. So if I have 100 years worth building a house, Kol Amar Adonai Tzvot Elohei Yisrael Elachav ben Kolaya vel Tzidkayahu ben Maaseya Hanib'im lachem b'shmi shaker. This is what God says concerning two prophets. We've talked about Hananiah Hanavi, who, right in the last chapter, Hananiah Navi, is he a Navi? Is he not a Navi? Is he telling the truth? Is he not telling the truth? The debate, the lack of clarity. That's what's great about yesterday's chapter. But here, these two prophets are told immediately. One named Achav, very suspect name. We know Achav, the rotten king, with his wife Izebel, and Sidkiyahu, a very righteous name, Sidkiyahu. But Sidkiyahu is the king, who is the puppet, also, same name, of Nebuchadnezzar on the throne. He says, these people are swearing falsely, and they will be given over to the king of Babylon. And the whole community, they're going to be an example. Right? When you want to curse somebody, they're going to say, may God make you like Sidkiyahu and Achav, who the king of Babylon threw into the fire. Because they committed adultery with the wives of their fellows. What does that mean? By offering false words. I don't think it's supposed to be understood literally that they were sleeping with their friends' wives. It means that they're committing adultery by pretending that they're listening to God, but they're listening to some other oracle or making it up on their own, and therefore they are going to suffer. Ve'el Shmaya hanechalami tomar lemor. And concerning Shmaya, the Nechalamite, okay, so here we have a third person mentioned, Shmaya from Nechalam, okay? Kol amar Adonai tzvot elei Yisrael lemor. Yan asher ata shalachta b'shichma. Sfarim el kol ha'am asher b'Yerushalayim vel Tzfanya ben Masaya HaKohen vel kol HaKohanim lemor. You, Shemaiah, right? Listen to his name, Shemaiah, the one who listened to God. You sent letters to all the great people in Yerushalayim, including to the Kohen, presumably the Kohen Gadol. You sent them letters. What do those letters say? Adonai nitancha choen tachat yoyada kohen liot pikidim beit Adonai lecholish mishugao mitnabe. V'natato oto elam lepachet ve'elat sinok. What does he say? God appointed you, a Tzifanya, as the high priest in the place of Yehoyada. He was the former high priest. And what do you need to do? You need to exercise authority over every maniac who's offering crazy prophecy. Put him in the stocks, punish him. So why are you letting Yirmiyahu run around with this crazy prophecy saying all those things? Because he sent us a message into Bavel, which said, he told us we should live here in Bavel, and that's not, you should be telling him, no, we're going to come back to Yerushalayim. It's going to happen in 6 months, it's going to happen in a year, it's going to happen in 2 years, maybe 3 years, but it's not permanent. It's not for a lifetime. That's not going to happen. So Tzefanya reads this letter, telling Yirmiyahu, you were wrong. You shouldn't be saying this. You're a maniac. You're a lunatic. You're causing trouble. And God appears to you in Yirmiyahu, and he says, again, another person who is offering false words, lies, to give you hope. And his offspring, they're not going to see the good that's going to happen. They are disloyal, they are liars, and they are not going to return. They're not going to be part of my people, who eventually are going to return to the land of Israel, but they won't be part of it. And so here we see, right, interestingly, we know Yirmiyahu is there's problems for him in Yerushalayim. The people don't want to listen to him. They want to argue with him. They want to question his prophecies because he's not telling them nice things. And even the people that he's sort of telling nice things to, just stay, wait it out, you will come back. Even they don't want to listen to him. They have listened to God in terms that they submitted to Bavel, but they don't want to listen to him. At least some of them don't want to listen to him and are offering false prophecy in the hope that the Jews will much, much sooner come back to the land of Israel.